Hello, magic makers. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Aquarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this reading is for you. A transmission through the Serpent Gate, a page in the Codex, and perhaps a message you are meant to remember. Before we begin, please hit the like button. Every like is a torch lit along the spiral road. Every comment is a sigil etched in the vault of echoes. And if this message resonates, consider subscribing to the channel. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, these readings are not predictions, they are transmissions, and I am merely the messenger. The meaning is yours to uncover. Open the temple within and listen for what echoes back, because the most important part of any tarot reading is you. 4 of Cups. You're someone who, I think you like the finer things in life, don't you? I think that you're someone who you take pride in the home that you create. You know, you're somebody that likes to make people feel comfortable. You are very, hospitable, very welcoming. I feel like you like to have people over, you like to cook for them. I feel like you keep a very warm home. You know, I feel like your home really is your sanctuary. It's a place where you can be yourself. It's a place where you can entertain other people. It's a place where you can, other people feel safe and welcome in your house, I think that there is something going on in your house or in your home right now that is of a lot of importance. I kind of feel that something's perhaps, in a good way, something's leaving the nest, I feel like something is, and maybe it's you, maybe it's a loved one. I feel like there's this sense of safety and someone's almost like there's a goodbye. There's like a heartfelt goodbye going on, but it's like we're seeing somebody go off and have their adventure, maybe it's the kids or something like this, but I feel like somebody has really gained a lot from their relationship with you, and they're ready to take that into a larger context, okay? And I think that you're someone who has been really providing like a safe place for other people, providing like a warm, healthy, healing, nurturing environment. Okay, well, this could be at work, it could be one of your patients, it could be going on at school. Maybe you're in that kind of a role. It could be at home. It feels more homey, than anything. But let's put this into a little bit of context and see what is going on here. Wow, another 4. Yeah, it definitely feels like home, but it could be a work environment, could be a professional environment, but it's an emotionally stable and a physically stable place that you have created for yourself and for your close loved ones, okay? And now we have a Knight of Pentacles. And we have an adjustment card. We have a Prince of Cups and a Princess of Cups. You're looking forward into the future to, I think, kind of a new role, okay? I feel like there's kind of a fresh beginning is taking place. Yeah. Over here we have a 6 of Swords. We have the Magician. We have a 6 of Cups. Wow. And a 9 of Pentacles. Yes, definitely. Now, this is kind of interesting because it kind of feels to me like maybe the kids are kind of leaving home, going off to college, or starting their own life. So it's kind of a fresh beginning for them, okay, or for whoever the other person or entity is in your life. But it's also kind of a fresh start for you. It's kind of a new beginning for you in your life. I feel like you're kind of stepping out of an old role. Yeah. And you're stepping now maybe into, it feels like there's a life transition happening. Maybe you're stepping out of a very a role of, let's say, a professional role, okay, or a kind of maybe an authority figure or like a mediator, right? Maybe the one who had to make decisions, into a role that is more creative, more emotional, more free, more imaginative. Maybe this is very logical, very professional. Now it's like, now you just get to kind of create, you know? And it could be, well, it could be transitioning from your professional life into your retirement, or changing jobs. This could be, you know, it could be about kind of now your home is no longer, your role is no longer to kind of create the home for the kids and raise the kids. Now maybe it's like you have that, you've been given that time and space back, you know, and it's about what you're going to create with that space. I feel like you're stepping out of the old role, which means you're stepping into something new. You get to explore a new role. I don't know that you've even I don't know that you know what the new role is yet, you know, but I feel like the last role, you sort of fulfilled your obligations, and the new role seems like it's going to be a lot more creative, or it's going to be, you're free to kind of choose what you want that role to be. I think the chapter ahead shows a lot of growth, a lot of opportunity, okay? The ending of something that I'm kind of feeling here, it's an invitation, okay? It's not a punishment. It's an invitation toward a new future, toward the next phase, the next trip around the spiral road. You're on the next rung now, you know? And so this isn't about the ending. This isn't about what's leaving, or how, or what the role was, or why it's ending, but the fact that now you get the gift of a beginning. You get the gift of, you know, using your imagination and your heart and your intuition to figure out, like, now what is my new role going to be? Okay, the ending is an invitation. I want you to light a candle, and I want you to declare your new dawn. Okay, you're starting a new leg of your journey. Yeah, a new trip, a new path. Yeah, a new segment of the road that you've been on. A chapter is closing, and the next one, the next one's beginning. Okay, and it's going to be a glorious one. It's an upgrade, basically, right? It's kind of, now you're moving up, you're moving on and forward, and it's going from a 4, let's say, to a 6. And I do feel that there's the idea of kind of family, okay, or of other people, or that your role in relation to other people is changing. Maybe your role in your kid's life was a certain type of role. You know, the one to feed you, keep you safe, keep you healthy, raise you. Now it seems like your role is going to be different. Your role is going to be more as an advisor or as a mentor, not as the one that's kind of, you know, like the kids are older now. So your role's changed. The magician in the environment, your role, your mask, your costume, your position, the hat that you're wearing is different now, in a good way. In a way that it's going to bring even more love and beauty and joy and tranquility and peace and connection into your life, and more progress for you as an individual, as a soul on a spiral road, as well as sort of your influence on other people's lives. Okay, this could be happening at work. Maybe it's at school. I don't know. Maybe it's going from, you know, community college to university, or undergrad to graduate school, or whatever. Maybe you're getting promoted in the workplace or something like this. It could be all sorts of things. But it's a new role. You're going to be wearing a new hat. Yeah, a new hat. Maybe I should start wearing my Dove and Serpent tarot hat to the readings. That'd be something, wouldn't it? Anyway, let's draw the hidden key from the codex. Yeah. This is the mystery card, the unseen cipher, the one truth yet unrevealed. It's a random card from the codex. A fragment beyond the known spread represents the factor infinite and unknown, what the watchers have not yet allowed us to see. I'm going to put big red ant right there on top. Now, we won't look at that hidden key until the end of the transmission, but when we do, it'll bring all the threads together. It will confirm the prophecy, and it will close the current page of the codex. If you feel the pulse of intuition, if the dove current is whispering to you, tell me what you see. leave a comment. What do you think the hidden key will reveal? Now let's look around the room. Where's all the major arcana cards? We have 2 of them. And this is a very professional role, or a very specific role that you took very seriously. Okay? It was an honor for you to serve. Now the Magician is kind of like, especially with the Princess of Cups, it's kind of like, I get to create my own role now. Maybe you're kind of, it's the workplace, right? Maybe it's happening at work. This was a very specific job that you had, and now maybe like the owner kind of said, you know what? You can create your role. What is your job description? You tell me. You know? You're being given that gift of like getting to create your own role now. You get to decide what your duties are and what your responsibilities are, and you know what your accomplishments should be, and what you're aiming toward, and like what hat you wear. It's like you get to create your own position within the company now. And that's a very special honor, isn't it? Not many of us get to do that, but whatever this is, this could be you going from your kind of having a day job to just being a content creator, right? Maybe you got a YouTube channel. If you do, share it. Share it here. This is a community for everybody. And I want us all to succeed in whatever endeavors we're involved with. If you're on YouTube, I want to watch your channel, okay? And I encourage everybody else to watch your channel too. So we've got our 2 majors, which I think are very revealing. We don't have any fire right now, and I think that the absence of the fire is maybe good, because maybe it shows that you don't have a very specific focus right now. You get to create your own. I think the mystery card will be fire. You have water. You got water, 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 water. A lot of water. Because right now it's kind of like saying, what do you want? What's inside of you that wants to get out? What does your authentic self say? Like, hey, let's do this. Let's create this role. Let's package our authenticity in this particular way. You get to shape your persona right now in a way, you know? Of course, we have a little bit of air. Not a ton of air, but just a little bit of air. Because there's a plan, you know? And we have earth, earth, and earth. You have wonderful cards. I gotta say, this is the best looking spread I've seen in a while, Aquarius, and I'm happy that it's yours, okay? So your first card is the Station. This is where you are in your life right now. And this is kind of bittersweet. This is almost like it's mixed happiness and kind of sadness. It's like things are changing. I don't really want them to change. The 4 of Cups is kind of like, we start looking around for the 5, you know? We realize that things can't stay this way forever, and things need to continue to evolve and move on and grow. And staying here, trying to stay here, would be like living in a storm shelter, you know? It's cozy, it's intimate, it's comfortable, it's safe, but it's meant to be temporary, you know? Kind of saying like, life goes on and we have mixed feelings about that. So this is where you are along the spiral road. It's not the beginning, it's not the end, it's just the pulse of the present. Okay? And the present is, I like my life, but I know it's got to change. I know I've got to grow and go outside of this comfort. This could be the old position that you had. This could be the way your home is set up right now, or like the dynamics in the house, or like the classes that you have, or the, you know, because you like the people, you like where you're at, it feels very good. But you know that you can't stay there forever, right? This isn't Van Wilder. Very old movie reference. Actually not, well, I don't know. It's old if you're old, I guess. It is, it's that comfort zone, you know. And we don't want it to change, but we recognize that it needs to. And I think we're very hopeful for the future and for what we get to do now, but still a little bit like, still a little bittersweet. Yeah. The obstacle, the battle card, position 2, this is the force that's pressing against you. And it's a card that really is like, it's solid, you know. This is material power. This is a structure. This is habit. This is routine. Okay? So these 2 cards together really say that, like, we don't really want things to change. sometimes it's difficult for us to step out of the old role because we're so, it's become a part of us. We're so like ingrained in that routine or those habits that it's hard to step outside of that. The obstacle here, I think, is for you to really kind of decide and put something in motion that is, to maybe define your new role, right? The 4 is kind of, because the 4 of Cups is, well, it's a square, but it's not very defined. It has diffuse edges. The 4, very well defined, right? It's set in stone. It's like concrete, It's not just a feeling. It's not just like the water. Now the water has a vessel. So I feel like part of this idea is that you need to understand what's in your heart right now. What is it that you really want? Things can't stay the same. Things must change. So what do you really want? What is the life that you feel? How's your heart doing? What does it tell you? What does it want? And how can you create the vessel to express that? This is water and earth. And water and earth, incidentally, is also what you have with the Princess of Cups. This is water and earth. Figuring out what you want and making it real. Understanding that your feelings, your desires, your hopes, your wishes, your aspirations need to translate to actions, behaviors. Okay? Feeling to behavior. Feeling to behavior here. Right? Water to earth here. And then, for the heck of it, water to earth here too. Okay? So it really is about, understanding that your feelings, understanding how you feel, what you want, what your hopes, dreams, wishes, what your fears are, what your aspirations are, and understanding then the relationship to the physical reality. Okay, so I think it really is, it's time for you to start defining that new role. We've stepped out of the old one. It's time to define the new one. Okay? And your decisions now really kind of set the tone. Yeah. And I think that kind of it has to do with this Libra energy too. And with the Libra energy, I wonder if this was I wonder what your choice really was. Because if it is the kids kind of, have left, off to college or whatever, that's not really your choice necessarily. But I think you do have a choice now in how you respond to that and how you choose to look at this as either a bad thing or a punishment or something regrettable, or you look at it as an opportunity. How you respond to those inevitable things of life. Maybe this is retirement for you. Maybe this is maybe the adjustment card is you making the choice to step away from your professional role. And now you've got to define your new, you got to make something real. You're responsible for this stability now. Let's say you left your job. Now you really have to figure out how are you going to get those basic needs, how are you going to make ends meet? The 4 of Pentacles in its interpretation of your basic needs, water, shelter, food, and fire, So it may be that you stepped away from your job and you're going to be that content creator, or you're going to pursue your art or your music full time now, something like this. What's in your heart needs to be manifested in the concrete world. Okay, you got to find a way to stabilize and solidify things, your life. Okay, your human life right now. Down beneath the surface, of course, is the Knight of Pentacles, looking at the future, looking at the road in front of you, and that's kind of looking at the 9 of Pentacles. The Knight, this is in the position of your soul. This is what your soul knows, even if your conscious mind hasn't yet figured it out. Looking at the future, looking at the road in front of you, and realizing that it's yours to create. This is somebody that's having a vision. You're looking at this blank slate, this wide open vista, and you're thinking, this is all mine. I can create whatever I want now. The ending has already happened. The Queen, right? The Queen of Pentacles already happened. The ending's already happened. The Knight now is ready to begin something. This is the new chapter that we're about ready to start. We haven't moved yet. We're looking at that mountain and kind of seeing the challenge. Seeing like, I don't know what's at the top of the mountain. I don't know what my ultimate goal is. But maybe I know like kind of what I want to do. You know, I have a vague idea perhaps that we're going to define more. But looking now at the remainder of your time here in this incarnation, it's kind of yours to do what you want with. Okay? And so the idea here is that you got to have some goals. You don't have to have like a final goal, but just say, I want to start doing this kind of, this is how I want to live. Because what we're looking at is a 9 of Pentacles, and this is you living a successful life. It's not about goals necessarily, but you feeling like you're making progress in something and you're traveling a particular road. You got to keep moving. We stay in the 4, we're going to stagnate. Okay? And whatever, let's say this is, let's say you did leave your profession and you're in the 4s now. We're not quite moving yet. We're looking at the future and seeing the wide open vista, which is also scary, but also hopeful. So many opportunities, but also so many challenges, The resources, like your savings account right now, you can't live off your savings forever. So pretty soon, we got to get moving on something. But it's that kind of thing. I don't know if it's about money or has anything to do with that, but the idea that you can't stay still for too long. There's something that's sort of calling you forward here. I think you have that opportunity to create a new role, to embrace this new chapter, and to write the chapter. You're writing the next chapter of your life. And the Knight of Pentacles is looking out at the future and seeing it as being kind of an untapped wilderness of all that possibility, but also seeing the uphill battle where it's going to be a struggle. Okay? And it really is this, this is a Capricorn energy. This is saying like, you want to progress at something. You want to get good at something. You want your line to go up and to the right. My right. This would be this way for you, but you get the idea. Not necessarily seeing the summit of the mountain. You see, this figure cannot see the summit. We can see the mountain. We can see how steep it is, 45 or so degree angle. You can't see the summit because you don't want to know why. The summit only exists to justify the climb. Your goals only exist to justify you traveling that road where I feel like I'm making progress at something. I'm getting good at something. It's paying me. I'm having fun. This is nice. It's whatever. It's hard work. But I feel like I'm doing something, creating something. I feel like you are a creator, whether you're creating content or whatever else. This is that thing inside of you that just kind of, this is like your inner drive. You want to now sculpt your future. You get to decide what your future looks like. Okay. In the background, this is the chain that has bound you before. It's the old story. This is, in a way, this is the old hum. The old hum beneath the choices, yeah. It may be that you have a tendency to play it safe. You have a tendency to just kind of do what you've always done because it's comfortable and familiar. But I feel like since this is kind of in the past now, and the Knight is looking at this wide open future that you get to create, I feel like you're done playing it safe. I feel like, that was you kind of saying, I'm not just going to do the same thing I've always done. I'm not going to go get the same type of job I've always had. I'm going to do something bold. I'm going to do something authentic. I'm going to do something real. Okay? And it may be that, the kids have left the house, but instead of you just kind of, I'm just going to do what everybody else does, now that in this situation, I feel like you're going to do something real and like something that is unique to you. Okay? I do expect fire in that mystery card. This, I think, is the old role that you had. Like I said, it could be the old profession. It could be that it was a very, you always had to make very good decisions. very wise decisions, very responsible decisions. Now you're kind of getting a chance to just be irresponsible a little bit, And so if this is, the kid, you're taking care of kids, okay, you got to make certain choices. It's the way you make choices, really, right? Because, every choice is kind of a weighing of the options. Well, now, okay, I'm taking care of kids. That's the weight. That's like the most significant factor in any of my choices. I'm a dad. I've got a 5-year-old little girl. Every choice I make, she has the most gravitas in my decision-making process. Every decision I make, it takes her into consideration, okay? But now, let's say she's 18 or 35 and finally decides to leave the house. I don't want her to leave. Maybe she'll stay forever, but I do want her to go and have her adventure, and live her destiny too. But once I'm no longer let's say responsible for her, I'll always feel responsible for her, but anyway, for the illustration, then that's not so much a factor. Now the choices that I make, I don't have to consider what's going to be best for her. Well, she's an adult. She's living her own life now. So my role to her, my responsibility to her is different. But now I can have other things that I can maybe take more risks. I can do things a little bit more spontaneous. I can spend my money differently because now she's fine. She's doing her thing. So if I want to travel, or if I want to invest money in something else, if I want to do something that I would have had to say no to because I have other responsibilities, okay, and that role is going to change now for you. Does that make sense? Okay. Up top here, this is that authentic thing. This is the Prince of Cups. This is your true and authentic self. It is the giant. It is your untapped power. It's the guardian sleeping within you. This is not who you've been, but who you are becoming as you step through this serpent gate and you start to design your next chapter of life and your next role. You're writing the next chapter. So this is who you've been. Making choices and decisions because of certain responsibilities, obligations. Okay, this is how you've been making choices before. Now you got to make choices based on what your soul really wants and and what your authentic self tells you. Does that make sense? Because again, with the responsibilities of the adjustment card, your choices, it may not have been, if there were no one else relying on you, if there were no other factors involved, what would you choose? That's this. But there are always other things to consider, other facts, other people to consider, other responsibilities, especially something like, you got kids. That's a really big factor. So that's where this card comes into play. But now that you're not in that role anymore, that's not your responsibility anymore. You don't have that job anymore. You don't have those responsibilities anymore. Now you can be a little bit closer to your authentic self and you can make decisions based on what that authentic self wants. Okay? And that's what this card is here, and that's why this is at the very top. If I had to summarize the reading in one card, this would be it. This is the reading in a nutshell. You're getting closer to the expression of your authentic self because your roles in life are changing. Your obligations in life have changed, and now you're able to direct your life that's coming straight from the heart. Okay? And it's not to say that this was an inauthentic role, no. But this was your authenticity being filtered through, a decision-making process that had to take a lot of other things into consideration. Okay? Now, it's kind of like you're free to shape your life however you want. Again, using that illustration, like the kids are grown, they're out of the house now. Now you can kind of do whatever you want, within reason. You don't have to, you don't have to make all your decisions based on, well, I got to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to work now. Well, no, you don't have that job anymore. You can stay up late and sleep in late if you wanted to. So I think that's kind of where we are being led to the Princess of Cups, because this is emotion to behavior. This is, I feel an impulsive, I feel something, And I behave in that way. I don't have to filter my behavior through my sort of sense of responsibility. So this is that freedom, that's saying like, and it's, to me, it's kind of like when, when people retire, at least my grandmother in her day, she's 96 years old now, but when she retired, her life, she was changed. She was different, because, when she had her career, she would, she'd have to wake up at a certain time. She'd have to go to work, and she kept the books for a department store in Palo Alto, California. I don't know if anybody still lives out there. Bergman's department store for anybody. Anyway, when she retired, she didn't have that responsibility anymore. Okay? And so she would sleep in, she was traveling, she was going out with her friends at all hours of the night, and it was wild, right? And whatever she felt, she said, you know what, we're gonna go have tacos tonight. She'd go have some tacos. She didn't have to filter everything through that, well, you know what, I gotta work at 6 in the morning, so I have to make other choices, okay? And also, she was kind of a similar way after her divorce. But I think that's kind of the way that we're liberated from our responsibilities sometimes, okay? And again, it's when the kids move out, it's kind of like, now what do I want to do? Now I can literally, if I wanted to, I could follow every whim that I have. Every little feeling I have, I can act it out, okay? And I think this is where you still need that discernment to say, well, how do I want to organize that, How do I want to organize that? And that brings us to the path of the serpent, by the way. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah. The Six of Swords is your general energy, and this is you organizing that. This is you figuring out a plan. I'm not just going to, whatever I feel like doing, I'm going to do, maybe for a little while. Yeah, you wake up in the middle of the night, you want some tacos, go get some tacos. I got nowhere to be. I got no one that I'm responsible to, So you can do whatever you want. You want to stay up late and watch movies? Yeah, do it. You want to sleep until noon and then lay in bed all day? Yeah, go for it. But eventually you're going to start to realize that you need some sort of order and routine. Again, with the Four of Pentacles, yeah. That you're beginning to craft your new role, the new hat that you want to wear, the costume, the persona, who you're going to be out in the world. What is your next chapter going to look like? This is that outline, a basic blueprint of kind of what's important to you and what types of things you're gonna have some sort of routine and order and discipline in your life. Okay, you're crafting your new role. This is you writing the new job description. Okay, this is you mapping out what it is that you want to do with your life, because doing whatever you want whenever you want it, living on a whim, right? It's gonna get old. Okay, but it's still, that's that authenticity that that Spirit's kind of highlighting. It's like you kind of get to feel that out. Like, what do you desire? What do you want? Now you can start crafting that into something that's kind of structured. There's a plan to it. There's some kind of organization. It's like you're still you might sleep in late for a few days or whatever, but then it's like, okay, now setting the alarm clock again. Got stuff to do. Yeah. And the Magician is the persona. And this is the position of the shadow, which is very interesting, okay? And this is the actual position of the persona in the Dove and Serpent spread. So what it's saying here is that other people see you as somebody who has a very well-organized thing. I think you're somebody that kind of needs structure and order and discipline and some kind of regularity in life, because this is an objective look at you. This is the persona. This is the way, if I were just didn't know you and I was looking at your life, I'd say that's somebody that likes routine. That's somebody that kind of likes predictability, likes to have a plan, likes to be able to wake up at a certain time and have something to do, likes a little bit of structure, okay, to a certain degree. And, well, this is not that. This is the opposite of that, right? But this is the imago. This is this is your ideal form. This is when every feeling coming through your authentic self is getting acted out in the physical world, okay? And that could be dangerous, right? You could see how that might go awry. The persona in the shadow, this is that version of yourself that you've always wanted to become. You know, this is who you've always wanted to be. And now you have the relative ability, opportunity, the freedom to shape yourself into this person. Okay? This is that part of you that you've had to bury in the vault of echoes. And now here you are embracing it. So your personality, the way you dress, the way you act, the things you do, the things you say, the way you walk down the street, you get to craft all of that now in a way that feels more authentic. Maybe back here it was you had to wear a certain uniform, you had to go in and serve a certain function or role in a job, a company, in life. You know, you had to be a certain way. You had to dress professionally. You know, I've never had a job where I really had to dress a certain way, but my father did. He was in sales for a while, and he would have to wear a suit and a tie into work, right? And then he started his own business. He used to install the satellite dishes, right? Those big, huge ones, you know, in your backyard, they're cemented into the ground. He used to sell those. He started his own business, selling and installing those. But, you know, this is like having to wear that certain role, having to have certain mannerisms or to relate to people in a certain way. Now it seems like you're getting that freedom to sort of write your own script. You know, this is you authoring your own story. Okay? And this is about you crafting your own personality, the way that feels more authentic. Every persona is more or less authentic in the sense that it is born out of you, okay, either out of necessity or by choice. I think that you're getting the opportunity to choose how you wish to present yourself to the world. You know, what kind of personality you're going to embody. Okay? It's a new dawn for you, and you get to write the script of the day. This chapter is for you. You get to pick what character you're going to be and what story you're going to play out. Okay? In the next position, this is the mirage position. It's the illusion. It's the fear. Okay? And this is pleasure. This is home. This is family. This is tranquility. This is like love. This is, you know, community. This is the feeling of like being part of something bigger than yourself, right? And the illusion, I think, is that there's an isolation that comes with this transition, okay? Because whatever is taking place here, with that 4 now, it kind of feels like it's like an empty nest kind of thing. You know, it's like I'm not working at that company anymore, or the kids have moved out, or I'm not in that relationship anymore, and now it's just me in my little box and I'm isolated. Okay? So the illusion is that you're by yourself now, and that your energy doesn't affect or connect with anybody else. The 6 of Cups is trying to remind you that you still are a part of a community. There are still people that rely on you. And not only that, if the kids have left, you still have a role, a function to fulfill in that relationship. It's just different now. Okay? You still are a part of a larger community, even if right now you might be feeling like I'm going to be lonely. It's going to be isolating now. The kids are gone, or I'm retired from the business, or whatever, or the divorce is finalized, which is, you know, a good thing, but it's also, now I don't know what I'm going to be part of. You're going to find your people. You're going to find the company of people that sort of resonate with you. Okay, there's going to be consonance. You're going to be resonating with other people. You're going to find your community, find a new sense of family, or the nature of your family now, if it has to do with your kids or whatever, right? That dynamic is changing, but you're still a very crucial and very valuable part of that family. It's just being restructured a little bit. But you get to write that role. You get to write your own role into that. You get to write your own job description, and you get to more or less map out what the next chapter of your life is going to look like. Okay? And that really is the destiny of the Nine of Pentacles. That's the shape of what wants to happen, the page that's waiting to be written. That's you walking that road. That's progress. Okay? That is you seeing the things that you want to see on that road. This is the card of gain. This is the card of living the life that's meant for you. Okay, it's a 9. It's an odd number. It's a function. It's a verb. This is you living that successful life. This is you living the life that you've written now for yourself. Okay, you're traveling on down the road on the next spiral around this wonderful merry-go-round, and this is, this is maybe the energy of things being rearranged in different areas of your life, physically, financially, mental, emotional, spiritual, creative. Things are changing, okay? But you're crafting that life. You're crafting your physical and financial world, your mental, emotional world, your spiritual, creative world. Okay, you're writing the story and then you're living that story. And this is the card of progress. This is the card of growth and gain and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, let's look at the mystery card before this video gets too long. I feel like this might be the Empress, which maybe is your new role. I wonder if this will be the new role. Yeah, if you have a prediction on what that new role will be like, or what you want it to be, put that down in the comments below. Let's see what we have. 2 of Swords. Perhaps still a decision maker. The 2 of Swords is a card of choice, similar to our adjustment card. But this is now a different way of making choices. Making choices here was based on your responsibilities and your obligations and what was just, maybe, right? This is you making choices based on your intuition. Okay? This is you still weighing options and still looking at different points of view and making decisions, doing the thought work that puts you in the context of other people so that you can see how your choices are affecting everybody else and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of able to see different angles. But you are trusting in your intuition. You're being guided by a deeper force. It's that little crescent moon at the top of that card. So you're becoming someone who is trusting that authentic self more. And the way that you're navigating the next chapter of your life is going to be based on that authentic self and what it has to say, rather than perhaps on what your obligations toward other people were dictating to you. Does that make sense? This is that midlife transition, which isn't a chronological thing, but somewhere in the middle of our lives, we go from serving other people or basing our decisions on what other people expect of us or need from us, to then basing our decisions upon what I need from me, what my soul needs from me, what the universe wants of me, It's a transition. That's the transition that we're in the middle of right now. That's the serpent gate for you. The first half of life is doing what other people need us to do, what our teachers need us to do, and what our parents need us to do when we're kids, what our teachers and what society expects of us, what our families expect of us, what our neighborhood expects of us. Now, kind of what our job expects of us, what the boss, what the coworkers expect of us, what our kids expect of us, and what our obligations are, as citizens. And now it kind of like, now we're away from some of those things, and we can make the choice now to maybe live a little bit more based on what is inside of us and needs to be expressed. Yeah, that's the transition here. Anyway, this is pretty big. This is awesome. I like this. The transmission will continue beyond the gate. In the extended reading, we'll cast an I Ching hexagram, we'll draw from the oracle, and we'll open a new cluster of keys from the codex. If you feel called to continue, the path is open. There's a link in the corner up here and one down below the video. New transmissions for Aquarius on Tuesdays and Fridays. Be sure to receive both. Subscribe if you haven't yet. It aligns your signal with the dove current and ensures your next page in the codex will find you. Leave a comment and let me know where along the spiral road you're watching from. It helps us map the resonance of the temple. I want you to remember you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. The codex reveals itself through you. I thank you, I love you, and we're all walking this path together.